IVM.
Hello and welcome to Fantasy Football Show. My name is Saru and this week's guests are Jayant and Sankar. What's up, guys?
Hello.
So we have the good performer Jayant. We have the average performer Saru, and we have
what way?
In the fantasy
world.
In the fantasy world, yeah.
Okay.
And we have, just below average performer Jayant here, right?
No, yeah.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Ashamed of yourself, Jayant.
I'm very ashamed of myself. I picked Richarlison to do well, and then I didn't pick him myself.
So let's explore that statement. You picked Richarlison on a podcast, which goes out to like at least 6,000 Cambodians, if not more than that, right? So people in like Cambodia are like, oh yeah, Jayant said pick Richarlison.
You did pick. Beaten you.
No,
the Cambodians.
Dude, he didn't pick him. Richarlison scored goals. Our man has the audacity to go it back on Twitter and said on the podcast, I said pick Richarlison. So why didn't you pick Richarlison?
So I went for Pulisic because I thought he would do better. Chelsea was scoring a lot of
goals. Why are you doing this? What is the point of this?
The point of what?
This podcast.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, people who listen, and if they pick him, I pick.
I may not pick him, but you pick him.
Yeah. I mean.
That is quite selfless.
Yeah.
I want you guys
Mother
to do well,
Teresa.
guys. Alright, so who else are in your hit list who played well, but you chose not to pick them?
Well,
let's talk about 2 game weeks, the previous 2 which was the midweek and the one.
Yeah, so I think everyone is now on the Son bandwagon. I think I'm going to make that change this week. I think Shankar, are you also looking at?
I've already made the change.
Yeah.
So why do you make your change so early? Like, don't you want to wait for
No, I just thought value is going to go up anyway.
How much would it go up? Yeah, 1.1 million.
0.2. Yeah. But like I'm working on a very tight budget at this point. So anyway, I just think Spurs have good fixtures. The next
they have Chelsea. They have Wolves and Chelsea. The next 2.
4-5. Point is, I think Chelsea will still concede. So
you can still have.
I think I don't think they're a clean
attacking
sheet team.
Output from Spurs. I think Ali or Son is a must-have right now.
Also, the first question is basically, given whatever has happened over the last week, is it time to get off the Chelsea bandwagon and get in some Manchester United or Spurs players into your fantasy team?
So I think, United maybe.
Rashford, come on, he's scoring every bloody match.
I think you need to look at how he does against teams which defend.
He'll still score a penalty.
No. I think Jayant has a good point here. So United play well against the good teams because they're a counter-attacking team. And now when they play against some low block attack, defending sides, who are they playing this week?
Everton. So
Everton.
United,
I think that'll be a good test.
The next 2 games for United are Everton and Watford.
No? So both new managerial changes, etc. So I don't think it's the easiest games to go play.
Think United wait 1 game week, see how Rashford does, and then look for next week after.
Come on, I think you guys are just being too conservative. I can understand. Shankar, what's like?
So I'll tell you, it's just that Leicester, Wolves all have great fixtures and Tottenham has great fixtures. So my fantasy mantra all these years, I have not been great. Jayant, what's my rank? What is it?
Why are you asking Jayant?
Shankar has 900 plus points already. So
he's pulling rank in so many ways. This is unbelievable.
I need the listeners to listen to me, dude. I'm new and all that. Anyway, so point here is that my only one fantasy mantra is try and not experiment. Do the obvious. So if you have a Vardy, if you have Jimenez, if you have Sterling on a good day against a good side, whatever, or Mane, go with them. Don't try this Rashford this week, etc. Keep them in the team, but I think that's how the gap gets built up a lot more, because Vardy's on such a spree, you may as well, just
you'll
jump
keep Vardy. See, the thing is, for
captain him now.
Done that as well. Yeah. But the problem is the last week, the midweek fixtures which we just had, the week where United beat Spurs, the game week that way. I think 84% of the world or something had captained Vardy, right? So
no, it's okay. I mean, you don't want to be left behind.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like Vardy is on a tearaway streak at the moment.
Yeah.
I think
have your differentials and don't captain them.
Yeah, and I think in the strikers, I think there are budget forwards who you can look at. Like Danny Ings has scored, I think, 5 games running.
He scored again on
Sunday. He scored again. Like, I think there are like
he looks like a poor man's Robbie Williams, no? Danny Ings. I just can't see him scoring. It's just
and
so
he scores.
weird.
I removed Ings from my team and put in Tammy Abraham because I read
Tambram.
Yeah, I heard Tambram was fit.
Yeah.
Bugger gave me 2 points and I cried when Ings scored a goal.
Yeah, I think, there's Mope who's, in the forward line, there's Pukki who's, there are people who are cheaper than Rashford who I think might
has a chance of
yeah,
scoring.
like Vardy is anyway like some 10 million right now.
Yeah, but
so.
while we're talking about like Rashford or like Spurs, like
but Martial is still an option, right? Because
he's a midfielder
and he's cheaper.
Yeah, but then Martial, you don't know, he gets injured every like.
Plus he's calculating all the time.
Yeah,
so
every 1.2 games he's injured. Like so, it's so hard.
He's calculating the number of points he has all the time.
Dude. Yeah. And with him, the biggest fear is that even if he's having a bad day, he will be substituted in 58th minute. Right? So he'll be like, oh God. So like that 7.6 million wasted. Yeah, but is it time to get off this Chelsea? Because people had like Timori and one midfielder and Tammy Abraham. But
so
given how Chelsea's form is rocking.
Yeah, I think Chelsea defenders, I don't know. I think a lot of people got on the Tomori bandwagon.
Yeah.
I don't think Chelsea defenders are worth it.
I had him for a long time.
Yeah. So I don't think Chelsea defenders.
The only reason they got him is because he was like 4.5 or 4.6 million.
It's that, right? I mean, like you have a good side who, keep him on the bench. You may not play him every week, and you take a chance with them.
One guy who you might look at, is Reece James, because he does provide assists and he goes forward a lot. He's I think even in the game that they lost. No, in midweek he did have an assist. The goal that Tammy Abraham scored, he got an assist.
Yeah,
and he is more regular in the Chelsea lineup now. I think if you're looking at a Chelsea defender, he's the one.
No, but so Chelsea, I just think there's such an attacking side.
Yeah.
That you would want the attacking returns and not triple up on them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're playing Bournemouth, for example, next.
And Ake is injured.
Yeah, and
entire back line of Bournemouth.
Yeah, the entire team is injured.
No, but Ake got injured just the last game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
seems so obvious. No, ex-Chelsea player getting injured before the Chelsea game. Is it the Russian Jew who's pulling some strings somewhere?
Who's it? Oh yeah, the Russian Jew.
Yeah.
Which is so weird, right?
But like Jew just like takes
dude, Russian Jew. Like imagine, I didn't even know Russia had like.
Yeah, I knew that only when he had asylum in Israel. Like, why the?
He's an Israeli citizen now.
Yeah, that's what.
They have something with the Jews. No, I think Avram Grant and.
He's not a Russian.
So they don't have anything with the Jews. Abramovich obviously got Abram Grant in because remember Tal by Naheem days.
Yeah, UC Benayoun.
Yeah, UC Benayoun.
That was so good. And just digressing on this, but then Chelsea is one of the biggest donors for anti-Semitic campaigns and everything. Every year they go to the US to play a match and raise like millions of dollars and just give it away to Roman Abramovich. Actually, supposedly feels a lot.
He must have got abused quite a bit, no?
He's a
Russian
but
Jew.
He must have got abused because of what he's done. Irrespective of where he was.
Jewish lineage or not.
Yeah. If he was like a regular non-Jewish white man, also he would have got abused.
Yeah, he's an oligarch, right?
Yeah, so anyway, getting back. So is that a good enough reason to not pick Timori?
Yeah, I think, again, defenders... Sheffield defenders, I think that's the way to go. Like both,
everyone has two Sheffield defenders.
I only have one, but I think it's not bad. Not a bad thing. Yeah, I think it's not a bad option doubling up because Baldock
gave 11 points.
Yeah,
during the last
and
game.
the other wing back also scored. And Stevens
these are
also
those this overlapping centre backs guys, what?
Yeah. There are three of them. Basically, you can.
And Dean Henderson was also not a bad pick. So it's not a bad option to.
No, but
double up.
in general. there seems to be a lot of goals and not so many clean sheets.
Yeah.
So people have gone 3 defenders.
But the thing with Sheffield is that even if they don't concede, one of their centre backs is definitely scoring almost every game. Who is their striker? No one cares.
Muset.
Oh,
who I got. Like,
yeah, Muset also had 2 good game weeks just recently.
I had him for one of them, and now he's blanked in the next 2. So
Alright, guys.
Changed already.
No. Muset is 5 million, so it's not a bad option.
A serious question: should I drop Sterling? He's just taking up too much money.
I think Shankar and me will have different opinions on this.
No, I have dropped Sterling for Son.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I dropped him 2-3 weeks ago.
So I think in general, KDB for the value that he provides is a must-have. Like he's quality.
And he's 10.2 million, right?
And he's now, he's 9.9 or whatever. So I had doubled up on City, which worked for me till now. But now, because of the patch and everything, I just think it's too much of a luxury.
Yeah.
So I've got Son because, Spurs,
Yeah.
I have good fixtures.
So I think 2 must-haves are Mane and KDB, and they're together they're 22 million. So a lot of your budget is gone there.
It probably is not a very bad idea to, just after next week till like 28th or something, don't have any Liverpool players. Even when they come back from the Club World Cup, just give them a week to see what's going on.
But the thing is, Mane, like he has these 15-point game weeks, so it's a big risk. I mean, it's one week where you don't have your Liverpool players playing. It's fine. I think if you have a decent, like lots of people are getting
keep them on the bench and then
keep them on the bench. It's fine.
And you know what? I think historically, Jayant, correct me if I'm wrong, the Christmas weekends, it is quite high scoring.
Yeah,
especially
the Boxing Day weekend.
Eaten their ham and
their
hangovers and everything. Whatever.
I didn't know players also were like quite hungover while playing.
No, in general, I think there are lots of goals. And one advice to fantasy players would be to be very careful about your vice captains, because captains may not always play. This is the time where
rotation.
It's
always Vardy and vice captain Mane.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, just
always just stick to Vardy till Feb and then see where you are.
Just lock it up.
The form he is in, that guy is just
insane.
At what point I have 3 Leicester players in my fantasy. I have Soyuncu, I have Tielemans and Vardy. So if I
have Madison instead of
and you still have 3. I think most of a lot of fantasy teams have 3 Leicester players, which is like crazy. At some point that
my manager is Brendan Rodgers in fantasy.
Oh, is there points for that as well? All right. So Arsenal, we spoke a little about. The only question I have is, or the only people, Aubameyang, yes, no. Why would you keep him? He's so expensive as well.
I got Aubameyang a few weeks ago, like 5 weeks ago, because just Arsenal had a lot of good fixtures. And even if they concede, Arsenal do score. But I think it's like, and he got 2 goals against Norwich also. But now their tough run of fixtures start. They have City coming up. So it's a definite no for me now for any Arsenal players.
I don't think I've had an Arsenal player the entire season.
Yeah, I had Aubameyang for the first 3-4 game weeks, and then
I don't think I've had an Arsenal player. I think that's why maybe I'm doing fairly well this season.
and the shadow of Arsenal follows in FPL as well.
I mean, I've limited on the United players as well, but I don't, because they're not worth it, right? And then they're quite expensive, like you said, and you can't trust them, and there's so much shit happening there.
Why are you doing so well this year? Have you changed something fundamentally in your team?
No, I've not. Okay. I've always been okay. Just slightly better. This is slightly better than.
He just chose not to keep any Arsenal players. He just told you that.
Very simple. No
he
United.
Just told you that.
No Arsenal players. But again, I think this time what I've done is, I think I'm repeating myself here, but I've tried to make the captains somebody who's fixed. So it was always like Mane or Sterling or KDB throughout.
Don't gamble on captaincy.
Don't gamble on captaincy.
Yeah, you don't know when they're going to have the good game. So, for a month, if you keep the same captain, I'm assuming there will be 1 or 2 game weeks where they'll give you enough points. If you keep changing, it feels so shit. Like you had KDB as a captain, next week you change to Mane, and that week KDB is on fire. Oh god! But Mane scores 2 points.
So there is another fantasy tip. It's again slightly technical, but for example, if KDB is playing, and if I know that the left back is weak for that team, so there are matchups there to be exploited. So KDB goes inside right and sort of crosses a lot. So that those kind of things.
The only thing I
for
would
example,
say,
for United City,
yeah.
I knew Wan-Bissaka will take care of Sterling. So even though I had Sterling, I wouldn't captain him. I mean, but these things obviously not always works. But
the only thing I would say,
Shankar,
is this: the coming game week is Arsenal versus Manchester City, and Arsenal has two of the best left backs in the top five.
I think the viewers won't get it because the previous podcast says
anyone who listens to
both,
yeah, just like
the
write
joke
to me
is on Jayant
and write to me on Twitter. I'll buy you an Arsenal jersey, a real one.
No, left back Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole. After who's the Ashley Cole? Sun-dried Ashley Cole who came after him, like Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
Sun-dried Ashley Cole.
Yeah, they all look like Ashley Cole, like 2012. Everyone like, why is this guy looking so similar to Ashley Cole?
Like this factory of these
Ashley Coles.
Yeah, Ashley Coles.
Alright, so let's take a break now. After the break, we look at all the game weeks, and we'll basically what I need from you guys is 3 picks for the upcoming game week of players, and who would the captaincy choice be. And your 3 picks, I hope, has at least one differential whom people can look about.
I'll do my research.
Jayant, get on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Cool.
You need to have like 6 names ready then, not 3.
Hopefully it'll
And
be
a
as
few
good as
left
last
backs.
week.
Richarlison. Alright, please stay tuned to Football Twaddle.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, quick reminder, please do fill out our survey. It's at ivmpodcast.com/survey. It's a listener survey. We're trying to understand more about who's listening to our stuff, what kind of things you would like to see from us in the future, what you have been seeing so far, what you think of it, what shows you like, all kinds of different stuff. Also who you are, right? So I mean, like, all kinds of different stuff. Just please do come in and fill it out. It would be really helpful. That's ivmpodcast.com/survey. Want to thank our sponsors this week, Cambly, Intel, and Storytel. Remember, sponsors are what make this stuff possible. So if you enjoy the content, please do thank our sponsors. We have 2 new shows releasing this week. Lakshmi Krishnan, better known as Literary Chills on Twitter, talks to agents of literary culture on her show Litnama. She plunges deep into new genres of literature born in the digital era as she talks to the performers, storytellers, bloggers, poets, and writers. New episodes are out every Tuesday from 10th December. The Traveling Professor's Diary is hosted by Siddharth Deshmukh. It's a show about a curious human being with an eagerness for travel and observation. He visits colleges such as MICA, SP Jain, Symbiosis, Flame, Upgrad, Talent Age, and spreads the digital gospel of design, marketing, and business transformation. Episodes are out every Tuesday and Thursday starting 10th of December. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by the man who writes the famous Amul hoardings, Manish Javeri. He talks about his life in advertising and bonds with Cyrus over their love of Bappi Lahiri. On Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Janice and Anirudh deep dive into Season 2 of Jack Ryan. They discuss how it measures up with other globe-trotting spy shows. On The Origin of Things, Chuck narrates a story about the achievements, awards, and the rules that were changed by a particular bank. On Tapri Tales, meet the character Samira, who talks about Azadi Ka Room, woven by our storyteller Madhuri. What is Azadi Ka Room and can we find it today? Samira will tell you. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik is joined by co-founders of the News Minute, Dhanya Rajendra and Vignesh Velor. Together they talk about the initial days of the News Minute and give their viewpoints of how news is provided in India. On Advertising is Dead, Varun is joined by Chief Digital Officer at Hansa Equity, Nishad Ramachandran. They talk about how marketing is converging around a digital customer hub. On Golgappa, Trupti is joined by Anish Vyavhare, a spoken word poet who talks about his love for poetry and recites some poems about food. The Habit Coach completes 1 year of great habits. Ashton is joined by Urmi Kothari, the host of the Kinetic Living podcast. They talk about her fitness journey and her philosophy behind exercising. And with that, let's get on with your show.
Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. Jayant, Sankar. Hello.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Alright, so upcoming game weeks. Let me just... Chelsea play Bournemouth. Bournemouth have no backline, right? So that's something to look forward to. Liverpool play Watford. Is that Nigel Pearson's first game or second game?
First game.
His first game. But it's Liverpool, guys. Come on. And Arsenal play Everton.
Arsenal play City.
Sorry, Arsenal play City. United play Everton. So it's just going to be a lot of long balls from Everton. And there's Wolves.
Big dunk, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Wolves versus Spurs.
Yeah.
So in the first half of the episode, we said, let's get onto the Son and the Ali bandwagon. So, but they're playing Wolves. So does it still hold through? So let's get into this. 3 picks for the upcoming game week. Jayant, let's start with you.
So one fixture that which you didn't mention was Leicester Norwich.
Yes.
So I think Norwich, one of the leakiest defenses, and Leicester's forward line is just insane. So I think
You can't steal Vardy. Vardy's mine.
Vardy is an obvious choice.
Well, let's assume Vardy is in everyone's team,
Okay.
dude.
Okay.
Madison. So I would still, I mean, having a having a Leicester midfielder still makes sense. I think Chelsea Bournemouth, either of Pulisic or Abraham, because Bournemouth just have a terrible backline.
But I would ask the listeners to check if Abraham is injured or not, because there is some sort of...
So Chelsea have, I think, you'll get a fair assessment on the Champions League game, because Chelsea have to pick up points to qualify.
Do they?
Yes.
I thought my club was safe.
No, they're not safe.
How dare
so
you?
they're three
Chelsea's
teams.
a club.
Yeah, what is this?
There
Like?
are three
so
teams
much.
on 8 points. That's the toughest group in the Champions League.
Oh yeah, with Valencia and
Ajax.
Yeah. Damn it.
So, okay, I'm going to go for a sort of left field differential. I'm going to go for Jonjo Shelby.
Whoa.
They're playing Burnley.
Okay.
Burnley they've conceded, I think, 3+ goals in their past few games.
And they have
And
a lot of
Jonjo
they have a lot of
scored-
injuries as well, Burnley.
Shelby scored in his previous 3.
Dude, Shelby is not a bad shout. And Newcastle's picking up wins for fun, supposedly.
Andy Carroll is back.
Jayant, impressive picks, sir.
I know.
A lot of pressure.
I mean, you made Steve Bruce the manager of the month, sort of a thing. So,
Yeah, Newcastle's gone ahead of Arsenal anyway.
dude, that one of the things we try to avoid in this podcast, in spite of having like so many Arsenal guys, is not to speak bad about Arsenal. So let's just continue that with fantasy at least. All right. So those are your 3 picks. What did you say again?
So
Shelby, Madison, and Tammy Abraham or Pulisic, right?
Yeah.
Shelby, not bad, man. Okay, let me just put this out to you before we get to Shankar. Southampton are playing West Ham, right? So is Danny Ings
is not a differential.
fine, Shankar? I think
stole all my players, guys.
all. We just said Danny Ings.
Vardy and Ings. Okay, let's go. So, Champions League does change things a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because Chelsea need to win. They'll obviously have to play a full strength. And obviously, like 2 games in,
and it would be quite draining as well.
Yeah, because now they played 2 games last week as well.
Yeah.
And now 2 games
And
again.
Abraham's not 100%.
And Abraham's not 100%. So I would advise against Abraham captaincy, even though they're playing Bournemouth and they don't have anything.
Yeah.
So
they don't have anything.
I mean, even Eddie Howe said, I think all my 11 players.
King is missing as well.
The main 11 players are all out.
Dude, everyone's gone. Where's Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson?
Callum Wilson is there.
Harry Wilson, all the Wilsons in that.
Callum Wilson was there, what? I've not seen him in a while.
Wilson, because they're not scoring.
You're talking about Harry Wilson.
No, Callum is also playing.
And then where's the Josh King when he's injured? Entire backline. Why are they playing football? They can just come to ISL. Like be the 11th team.
Yeah, but Nathan Ake is a big miss actually. Yeah, he's one of the good defenders.
All right. So you're saying that in spite of all these problems,
maybe captaincy for Abraham is not recommended. I think Leicester Norwich is very obvious that it leaky defense, and like Jan said, so maybe triple up on Leicester, have a defender, have a midfielder and
a striker and Vardy.
So
you think someone should pick Ignacio?
Yeah, that is my
Ignacio, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So because now they've been playing with 2 strikers for the last few matches, and he's quite cheap. I think he's.
But Vardy has midweek, like he has no midweek fixture. He's rested for the next.
No, so keep 2 Leicester. So they've been linking up so well.
But he comes on in the 70th.
No, Ignacio's been starting. He has been starting in the last couple.
And he
got
a goal assist on starting 11 this game week.
Yeah.
Okay, and the previous one he came on as a substitute,
and
right?
Scored,
and the 91st minute or something.
So we can maybe check his points, but he's definitely worth a shout.
Wow, imagine that. And he scores like a hat-trick. Then there'll be one idiot in the world who's like triple captained him. He's just so pissing off.
So what did I say?
You said all Leicester.
Yeah.
You basically said Bournemouth are fucked and pick all Leicester players.
So Ings is also a fair shout, and now Newcastle. So I think Mane for sure, because he's been rested last week.
Yes, so he will start.
But
again,
Liverpool has a very tough Champions League.
Liverpool are not guaranteed.
So they will play.
They're away to Red Star Belgrade. So
they will win that. Come on.
not Red Star. I mean that team that Haaland is in.
Oh, that's
Salzburg.
Salzburg.
Red Bull Salzburg.
Red Bull Salzburg.
One was so capitalist and one is so communist. How did he mix those two clubs?
So they
No,
need
so both are Red Bull only, but they had to change their name and all that.
No, Red Star Belgrade is not Red Bull.
No, Red Star. No, that's
That is
the Leipzig.
Leipzig, yeah.
Red Bull Leipzig and Red Bull
Yeah.
RB Salzburg. Okay. So Mane has to come back against Watford.
Yeah, Mane has to come back against Watford. Then Danny Ings is a good shout.
Sure.
Triple up on Leicester players.
Yeah.
Sound advice.
Dude, United are playing Everton. Come on. Rashi. Let's go for Rashi.
No, so I think United will struggle to score goals in this. Like 2-3 goals they will struggle because Duncan Ferguson and his headbutting team will come and smash the shit out of United's very, very fast players. They won't be allowed to run.
Yeah.
So they get tackled the hell out of.
Where will if the ball is just like coming as projectiles, where would Dan James run?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Where he run?
Yeah, that's what.
Roadrunner actually.
Yeah, Roadrunner will be very confused.
Beep beep.
Yeah.
He'll run diagonal and
He's like that FIFA button getting stuck now. Like he's like just analog, run this way, run that way, 45 degrees straight.
Come on, I don't know, but he is. I don't know what else will he do in his life, but man,
Just run fast.
Yeah,
He's like Adama Traore, right?
who is so
Yeah,
good.
he's like the Salman Khan of football.
Adama Traore.
Adama Salman Khan Traore. Dude, with those, how does he run with those biceps?
Adama Traore. He's like developed, taken 6 years to develop
He's
those
damn
biceps.
fast.
Yeah. But he was in the Barca academy at one point.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling at some point his knees or something will give in, no? His body is like Johnny Bravo type, like all that muscle is going to like give way to that little.
Probably he'll be asked to lose muscle then.
Yeah, he seems like one of those.
So, should we pick Adama Traore or why we like?
Why are we talking about
Why are we talking about Adama Traore?
Because of running and.
Hey, what about Rahul Jimenez?
He's cool, but they're playing Spurs.
Spurs, I think Mourinho will go back to the old habits of tight defense and all of it. Or they'll say, fuck it, like just go.
They can't. And they have Serge Aurier.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick Jimenez because Aurier may injure Jimenez before Jimenez does anything.
So,
Aurier jumps on players. From when Mourinho has been appointed manager, I don't know what he's been told.
Yeah.
He's like just jumping on players.
Like
So 3 out of Wolves' next 4 fixtures
I have a
are
differential.
Liverpool, City, Spurs.
Yeah.
I have a decent differential. So, Aurier versus Jota. Left wing versus Aurier, who's mad. He's obviously going to be in the other end.
Yeah.
So, Jota has also been in decent form.
Yeah,
I think he scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
He decent shout. For
Against Spurs, they will score a goal.
They will score a goal and it's Aurier. So, like, match up.
So, in such good options, captaincy pick who? Vardy
apart from Vardy.
Yeah. Like, let's say someone says, I don't want to keep Captain Vardy. Then what do?
Because like Rebecca Vardy did some shit and I'm against all that shit.
I'm like hashtag Rooney fan.
Colin
Rooney fan.
Yeah.
Not even any Rooney.
I mean, Mane.
Liverpool, Watford.
Yeah.
Not Pulisic?
I have Pulisic decent shout. I mean, he's been getting into decent positions in the box. I think he's just been unlucky not to have a goal.
Yeah. So
I would still go Leicester. I would still pick Maddison or something.
Oh, so even if not Vardy, you would still say go with Maddison or someone.
Yeah.
God, how good is this team, dude?
They're not bad to watch, man. They're pretty good.
I think they're better than the
old Leicester side.
The dilly-dong ones.
The Mahrez side. Yeah, they're very good to watch.
They're actually quite fun. I hope they win the league. Yeah.
Same.
It's like,
I mean, hoping there's too much hope.
Yeah.
No,
Christmas time.
It's not that much. I'm telling you. Liverpool are not playing West Ham during West Ham's bad time. That probably West Ham will get better.
No, West Ham beat Chelsea.
Whatever, everyone's beating Chelsea these days. Even Everton. It's like if you have a manager in trouble, play against Chelsea and they'll win, and that eases pressure off them.
The kids have run out of steam.
No, I mean, slightly technical again, but against Chelsea, they didn't have Haller up front. They went Antonio, and that made a big difference.
And talking about biceps, did you see Antonio's biceps? like he beats Adama Traore also.
Yeah, I mean, like if you saw Adama Traore and Antonio like at a bar, you wouldn't think they're footballers, right? You would think they're like
stewards, maybe.
Steward. I mean, I don't want to be racist, but like they're like,
are they like those Manchester City stewards?
Yeah?
who don't stop a race? Who would probably stop the races?
Yeah, they would definitely do.
And they would do the Nigel Pearson choke.
Yeah, good. Like after football jobs.
Imagine Adama. There'll be an athletic article. 14 years ago, Adama Traore, the star of Wolves, now a bouncer at Mindy 99 or some club like that.
Dude, if Adama was like, some club in Kolaba or something, like he would fit in, no? Nobody would question his presence there.
No, I think a lot of Indians would question his presence
there. He could fit in,
probably. But if he was a little fairer, we would have been more believable. Because our racist selves won't accept that.
Adama.
Who's Adama? Whatever. We spent so much time on Adama Traore. None of us ever said.
And nobody wants to pick him.
He's like, just look at his bicep. He looks like Johnny Bravo. He's going to get injured.
This might be your worst rated episode or something, dude.
Dude, people love such shit. You get like messages on Instagram and said, oh yeah, even I thought of these thoughts.
Random
what do you think about our picks? Arey, wo to maine Vardy ko captain kar liya. Vardy is my captain anyway. But yeah, you guys have a point about Adama Traore and Antonio. So anything that works for people. Alright, Shankar, thanks a lot for coming in.
No pleasure.
It's been fun.
Yeah, good.
And Jayant, I'll see you in like a 2 weeks time.
So Jayant lives like downstairs or something, no?
Yeah.
Moved in, what?
Dude, he lives so close by. It's like we record at 9 and then at 8:30 if someone says, dude, I can't come in. Hello, Jayant, are you free? Like, I'm just about to have lunch or dinner, something.
Are you like a super sub or like are you part of this?
That's a question.
No. What do you mean? He was
a question for you.
He was a very important squad player. Now we are integrating him into the first team. So yeah.
Done enough. Yeah.
Come on.
Like Adama Traore.
Yeah.
Dude, enough.
Have you seen your muscles?
I wish the viewers could see Jayant's like wonderful biceps.
Let us get a photo of Jayant. Let's put it.
No.
Just do this. No. And Adama Traore. So Adama Traore's biceps and Jayant's biceps. Please. It'll be fun.
Or we can just put Jayant's face on Adama Traore's biceps.
That I don't mind.
Hey, no, you have to show your biceps. Come on.
Hey, come on. Then Shankar's biceps also. Yeah.
Screw that. Jayant, we are talking about you.
Yeah, you are the first team player here.
Yeah. If I make it to the podcast again, then maybe I'll show it.
Yeah,
next time.
Shankar is like Duncan Ferguson, who'll come back and choke.
What?
Choke.
Where is this going?
I have no idea. It was just a badly thought train of thought. Whatever. Alright guys, thanks a lot for coming in.
Okay.
And listeners, please at least messages your rankings. If you rank 1 and you need a jersey.
Shouldn't you be saying like share, subscribe, like, dislike, all that shit?
I have to pay shell out money for this jersey. So subscribe to the first episode and keep quiet during fantasy. Just say good things about us. And
so in broadcast we say affirmative action is good. You tell them to do something, they might do it.
Okay, guys who won the last week contest or last month's contest, message us on whichever platform. Whichever platform. If you want your favorite club's jersey,
do it.
Else we'll send a fake Adama Traore jersey from Kolaba and you'll be forced to wear it. Because we'll get Jayant to get your house and force you to wear it. I think
beware.
Yes. Alright, take care guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Remember the last vacation you took? What about the one you took 3 years ago? Okay, how much do you really remember? It's a question I've asked myself often over a decade of traveling the world. Hey, I'm Utsav and I do not travel the world for a living. I have a full-time job and responsibilities, but I have made traveling the world a priority. Priority enough that I negotiate extra leave in my job contracts, obsessively track my frequent flyer miles, and I'm willing to take off at the sight of a cheap ticket. Yes, I am cheap. I have lived and worked in 3 countries. I understand human behavior for a living. And these experiences have given me unique insights into places, people, and culture. With over a decade of travel behind me, I increasingly realized one thing, that we cannot see everything. So whatever we see, we must see deeply. Because as the film of memory decays, the imprints which will stand the test of time are the ones felt by the immersion of the senses, not by fleeting encounters with them. Postcards from Nowhere is an immersion into the world of slow travel, one story at a time. Tune in every Thursday on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.
घड़ी की टिक टिक के बीच अब वक्त हो चुका है टपरी पे मिलने का, चाय या कॉफी के साथ टपरी टेल्स सुनने का। सोचिए, अगर आपकी मम्मी, अक्का, दादी, नानी, जीजी, आजी भी आपके साथ इस चाय की टपरी पे एक चुस्की लेने आ जाए तो कैसी बातें होंगी? उनकी कहानियाँ कितनी नई या पुरानी होगी। एक्चुअली ना, टपरी पे पहली बार ये उनकी जुबानी होगी। तो मिलिए इन नए किरदारों से हर गुरुवार टपरी टेल्स पर। चाय की प्याली, एक नई कहानी विद माधुरी अडवाणी ऑन IVM Podcast app, website or wherever you get your podcast from.